My name is Rachel. I am the Thrifty Crocheter. And this morning, I completely forgot to do the devotion. I got to work and I went, oh, I forgot to do the devotion for today. I sincerely apologize. Today is Sunday, August the 10th. And I just got home from work and I'm like, okay, so the first thing I got to do is read the devotions for today. And if you're not saying this until Monday, well, then you will get Sunday and Monday, so you get a twofer. um, and my perpetual calendar for August 10. Here's that one. Almost looks like a round snowflake. Maybe it's just because it's white. I don't know. Anyway. 365 days of kindness. Oh, I know what was distracting me before I read this. When I was in high school, the church I was going to then had what was called Bible Bowl. And we would go to these competitions at various churches. Well, actually, one church down by Indianapolis, not in Indianapolis, but down by Indianapolis usually, or sometimes we went up to Michigan. Then we would have like a national competition in the summertime at the North American Christian Convention. And the Bible was every year, it'd be either one book or a group of books that you had to study. And then you had to answer the questions against another team. And your team, your church against another church, and then you had, these little clickers that you clicked and lit up to answer your question. And if you got it right, you got 10 points for the toss-up question. And then there'd be a bonus question. And the bonus question was worth more points. And then whoever had the most points at the end of the round won. But the way they do it, but I just saw recently here on YouTube. And then just because before I looked up on YouTube, I looked up on Google. Yes, it's still a thing, because on YouTube there were some videos from last year and spring of this year. So I'm really thrilled that it's still a thing. And actually, where this particular contest was being held was a college, I think it's in Michigan maybe, or in Ohio, I'm not sure. But the two teams were from here in Indiana. I live in Indiana. So it's still a thing, only the way they do it now is a little more Jeopardy style. And the way I did it when I was a kid is if you got it wrong and your team was out and then the other team got a chance to answer it correctly, now either side can answer, even if somebody else on your team gets it wrong, somebody else on your team can try to answer to get it right, which is cool. And they do it by subjects, kind of like Jeopardy does. And then they have a point, like in Jeopardy, after you have your subject, you have your point values. Well, they have point values for each of those subjects too. Like they had a 10, 2 15s, and a 20. And then after they would do so many questions, and they would give each team a chance to answer bonus questions. So I thought that was really cool. I liked how they changed it up. But most emphatic that, most excited and happy that it's still a thing. And I wish our church had kids. We don't have any kids. Everybody at our church are adults. And I miss being a part of Bible Bowl. Another thing that I miss that we used to do at our church when we had kids is we used to do puppetry. And even when I was little, the churches that I was with, when I was little, we used to do puppets. I miss doing puppets. That's another thing at the North American Christian Convention is they would have puppet contests. They would have Bible Bowl. They would have like choirs contests and singing contests. As well as all kinds of activities for adults and kids, and church services and Sunday school classes for the adults and the kids, and a concert for the kids. It was just a really awesome time to go to the North American Christian Convention for a week. It was so cool. But yeah, that's what kind of distracted me. I was watching all that this morning. So, anyway, I'm going to end up hitting my camera arm from my hair fall. Anyway, 365 days of kindness for tonight, August the 10th. In the ordinary, well, today was definitely not an ordinary day. In the ordinary, this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Psalm 118:24. Okay, I have to sing it. This song was taught to me when I was a kid, when my dad used to run the inner city mission here in town. And Carol, who was the head of the women's arm, loved this song. She sang this song every day before meals with come over to the guys' store. This is the day. This is the day that the Lord has made, that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. Okay. Again, this is not an ordinary day. This is called In the Ordinary. It has not been an ordinary day. Today might feel like an ordinary day with the usual routines and tasks. You might have started the day feeling great, but as the day has worn on, so has your mood. Oh, trust me, after this weekend, after tonight, yeah, my feet are, I'm tired. I'm done. It's in these moments when it's good to take a deep breath and remember that this is a day that the Lord has made. Yes. At my work, on one of the floors, on the exits, we used to, sometimes we would stop and open the door for just a minute and walk out and just go like a minute or two, and then come back in and go and finish the rest of what we were doing. Because sometimes it's just nice to just stop and take a breath and get some fresh air. I call it the fresh air floor. Think of the things you have to be grateful for, and remember that God is in the ordinary things, so you can find Him even in your lowest points. Sometimes it takes the low moments to really search your heart and seek Christ for things you can be glad about. Know that at some point in your day or this week, you're going to feel a little bit better than you are right now. Hold on to the promise that your Creator wants you to enjoy your days through all the emotions that you might experience. Give someone else that hope by reminding them of things to be glad about. Act of kindness. Tell someone you are praying for them. I do that a lot. I tell my friends and family that I'm praying for them. Even if they're not a churchgoer and they've got, they're having a rough time with life right now, I tell them I pray for them. And they're actually kind of thankful for it. So, daily guideposts for grandmothers. August 10. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew 6:21. I'm curled up in the big old chair by the fireplace in the cabin next door in our house with my notebook on my lap. It's my time to be alone with God for a day. So I've come to this place made sacred for years of prayers. Oh, that sounds so nice. I like that idea. It'll be a day of gratitude for the richness in my life. My beloved husband, Robert, my children, grandchildren, and now 4 new little great-grandchildren, my longtime friends in Nebraska, and the newer ones in Colorado, from my many caring readers who write me letters of encouragement, as well as those who appreciate but don't write. I thank God for the ponderosa pine that seems to bow to me as I look out the front window. The blue spruce I watched my grandfather plant in the 1930s that now towers over the house for the crispness of morning and the cool night breeze, for potatoes and milk and carrots and cheese, for shimmering aspens that wave to me in the creek across the road that is God's music, for the living art of white clouds changing form against a lucid blue sky. 4, and it goes ... I'm going to stop there for just a minute because my grandmother's house is a huge, down the hill from their house, there is a creek, and you go up the hill, and then there's a huge forest, huge woods, and it's really neat to just sit and sometimes I can and remember everything that we used to play back in there. We used to go swimming in the creek, and even in the front of their house, there's a huge pine tree, and we've got a huge pine tree in front of our house, and sometimes you kind of marvel at how tall the trees can be. It's like that song, if you cut down, you'll never know how tall it will be, because one time when I took the girls to go visit my grandparents, and we went out in the woods, these trees were so tall. They were taller than the house. They were taller than my house. And like the bottom of these trees, in front of the top of the hill was my grandfather's old barn. And there were they said what I called Christmas trees, kind of look like Christmas trees when I was a kid. They were about that height, about that kind of shape. But now they're tall, and the bottom of them are over my head. But you go out in the woods, and some of these trees are similar to that, are like so tall that when the wind blows them, it sounds like a creaky rocking chair, like there's this ghost rocking chair in the woods. I mean, the bottom of these trees are way above my house. I mean, these are huge, tall trees. Like nobody's done anything to them, and so they just keep growing taller and taller. It's like, wow. Okay, back to this. As I continue my list of treasures, the words stop. I find myself in wordless prayerfulness that will be with me throughout the day as I write in my journal. Do a bit of dusting, fix and eat lunch, and just rest in the silence and love of God. I invite you to find 20 or 30 minutes, sometimes before the sun sets on this day, to sit in a quiet, and this is her reading, this is her saying this, not me. Although this is a good idea, so I'm going to start this little bit over. I invite you to find 20 or 30 minutes sometime before the sun sets on this day to sit in a quiet place, kick off your shoes and your cares, and join me in gratitude and companionship with our special friend, Jesus. Holy Father, well, actually it says Holy Friend, but that works too. Holy Friend, we've come here to thank you for blank, and it has a blank, and it says fill in the blank. Marilyn Morgan King. Let's see, it actually says that right down here. That's pretty neat. The illustrated words of Jesus for women. Daily Devotional. August 10th. It's a promise. I am a promise. I am a possibility. I am a promise. So with the capital P, I am a great big bundle of potentiality. And that's all I remember. I know there's more words to it. I can't remember all the words exactly. Okay. I'm sorry. That's what it reminded me of. It's a promise. It is going to happen. Jesus promised his followers that he would come back one day and take his followers to heaven with him. What an amazing day that will be, at least for some people. It will also be a day of facing how you have lived your life, what choices you made. Jesus promises to reward you for your obedience to him, but there will be no hiding or justifying your disobedience, and no way to change it then. This is serious. Choose today to know, honor, and obey him. The Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they have done. Matthew 16:27. As obedient children, do not conform to the evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance. But just as he who called you is holy, so be holy in all you do. For it is written, be holy because I am holy. 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 14 through 16. And then last, but certainly not least, our beloved cross prayer square. This small swatch of yarn has been woven with prayers. As you hold this swatch in your hand, may you feel God's strength, love, and peace flow and know that He holds you in His hands. May God bless and comfort you in time of need and give you peace. Amen. Love you all. Bye.